in the presidential polls. So he's come out with a new plan to reform labor relations in this country. Have a listen.
Any plan that doesn't bring the federal labor laws into the 21st century really is incomplete. Because when you think about the core of how do we move this country forward, how do we build the economy, it has to be in a way that reforms federal labor laws out there.
The Walker campaign's policy director, Andrew Bremberg, joins the show from Madison, Wisconsin. Andrew, welcome to the program. Let's start with one of the big ideas here, which is to eliminate the National Labor Relations Board. What are you going to replace it with?
So thank you for having me. We're thrilled with the reception that Governor Walker's reform has received already since being announced yesterday. You mentioned the proposal to eliminate the National Labor Relations Board. That is an important part of the governor's reform to take on the big union interests and send power back to the people. The governor's proposal yesterday laid out how the NLRB could be eliminated with its core functions transferred over to an existing agency, the National Mediation Board, that already oversees union elections, and for the basic on the board is playing more efficient, responsible like the federal.
Well, we've learned a lot about the National Relations Board.
Yes.
It has become a very troublesome and corrupt institution. Andrew,
absolutely.
Now, nationwide right to work. I had a question about this because we have 25 states that are now right to work states. Why not let the states continue to move towards right to work? Why try to federalize that process?
So as you mentioned, there are now 25 states. Governor Walker was the governor to make Wisconsin the 25th state just this year. But I think for the governor, right to work is a really important foundational principle for individuals and individuals' ability to earn a living and work in our economy. So what his proposal outlined yesterday would be simply to change the federal presumption already in law. This is frankly already a federal issue. Federal law already creates a presumption against right to work. That's why 25 states have had to pass laws to give their workers the right to work. This simply just changes that presumption so that under presumed federal law, any employee, whether it be in the state or local government or the private sector, would have the right to work. And then if states didn't want to allow their individual workers to have that right, states could, try to take that away from them. But we thought that, the governor was very committed to freedom, giving more power back to the people, and this would be a huge, important federal reform that would empower people.
Got it, Andrew, empowering the people. Let's turn from the private sector unions over to the public sector unions. Is the governor going to eliminate public sector unions?
Well, the governor's proposal yesterday laid out a plan to eliminate the federal employee public sector unions. As president, his purview is running our federal government. So his proposal would be to eliminate those unions at the federal level, given their kind of the way that they're incompatible with public service that we've seen. So that's his proposal. And of course, that proposal, as well as all the others, build upon his record of real reform here in Wisconsin.
Andrew, I understand he did it in Wisconsin. He made his name on it. But could
Absolutely.
That is a massive proposal. It would be a big reform. Could he do that without a Republican-controlled Congress?
Well, right now we are blessed to have a Republican-controlled Congress. I think with the right leadership in the White House, that Congress could be more aggressive and actually achieve some real reforms. So Governor Walker made it happen here. He's got the experience as a governor of doing both executive actions, on day one as governor, and he's laid out plans of how he would take executive actions on day one as president. But of course, a robust legislative agenda, as we saw here in Wisconsin.
So, Andrew, it sounds like the answer is yes. He would need a GOP-controlled Congress to push this through.
It would certainly be harder without one, but I think the governor is confident that if he leads our party on the ticket, we'll have a strong Republican showing in 2016, and he would count on having...
Very briefly, Andrew, because we got a limited amount of time together.
Sure.
Is this really the first thing that President Scott Walker would want to do to anger the tens of thousands of federal employees that he needs to push his agenda forward?
Well, Governor Walker, as you said, he's not intimidated by anyone, but I just want to make clear, this is the next step in a long series of substantial policy reforms that he's going to be laying out. You saw last month, he's the only major candidate to put forward a very substantive plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. Now he's laid out a plan to take on our federal labor laws, and there's more to come from Governor Walker, building on his strong reform record.
Well, and we hope to have Governor Walker back on the show again soon. Campaign Policy Director Andrew Bremberg, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks so much.